If you or someone you know has been infected with COVID-19 but haven't had to go to the hospital, you could actually be part of an encouraging new trial and even be compensated for your time. Infectious disease specialist Dr. Anita Coley is here with the details. Doctor, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me this morning. I appreciate it.
Definitely very important to talk about this. So tell us a little bit about the trials and why these clinical studies and trials are so important for battling this pandemic.
Yeah, the COVID-19 is a big problem in our community. The cases are rising exponentially. The biggest issue as medical providers and for patients alike is that we don't have good therapies available for patients at this time. Obviously, there's a lot of work going on regarding development of a vaccine, but we're still many months or even years away from the development of a vaccine. Clinical trials are the fastest way to get data on new medications that may be beneficial for patients for treating them, with the idea to reduce symptoms, to prevent complications and even death. When drugs are developed, data has to be collected on them in a systematic manner to determine ultimately whether they're beneficial or not. This is similar to what was done for remdesivir, which is the drug that most of us have heard about in the news. Clinical trials were actually done that showed this drug was helpful for people with moderate to severe COVID in reducing hospitalizations. The idea of these clinical trials that we're running is actually to give medicines to people before they become hospitalized and see if we can prove benefit at that point.
So, Doctor, talk a little bit about the scientific details, of course, in layman's terms, so most of us can understand it, what this therapy is going to do.
Yeah, great question. So this is a clinical trial of something called a monoclonal antibody. Antibodies are proteins that our body makes when we are exposed to an infection or anything that is not supposed to be there, a foreign element in the body. Develop antibodies. Those antibodies can sometimes be beneficial at both fighting off and at the current infection that somebody has and or preventing future infections. The idea with this antibody is to do just that it may be able to shorten the duration of infection, prevent hospitalizations, prevent ultimately death. The concept is similar to that of convalescent plasma, again, which people probably have heard about a lot in the news, in that scenario, patients who are generally hospitalized or sick are given plasma from other patients who've had COVID in the past, and that plasma has antibodies directed at the virus that other person made. In that scenario, the issues are that we cannot measure how much antibody we are actually giving people. We're assuming that the donor had the infection, that they have a robust number of antibodies, and we give it and hope that it will work. In this scenario, because it's a medication that's being done, there are actually large amounts of antibody in the medication that are being given. So these are measurable large amounts of virus-specific, COVID-specific antibodies that will be given to people.
Well, any sense of advancement is definitely good news. So give us, who is able to participate in this?
So thankfully, there are very few exclusion criteria, meaning there are a lot of people that are probably eligible. Anybody over the age of 18 who has been diagnosed with COVID-19 or has suspected COVID-19 is potentially eligible. We do have the ability for people who are interested in enrolling the trial that if they have not gotten their PCR test back, that we are able to run a rapid test on site that we can get the results of within a few hours. Other than being over 18 and having COVID, the other important factors are having symptoms for less than 7 days. And the symptoms would be fever, cough, or shortness of breath. If you have any of those three, you would be eligible.
Excellent. Well, I think it's certainly a way that, somebody who has been infected, unfortunately, can actually be a part of the solution. And certainly it is important. It is even a duty, if you can and you want to participate, to do that. And great details. Thank you so much for letting us know the science, Doctor, and everything you're doing. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. And just one more point. We want to just let the community know that we plan to be open enrolling for several months and also to bring other trial options for COVID patients to to Tucson. So hopefully this won't be our first option, but one of many.
Very good. Dr. Anita Coley, thank you again. And if you or someone you know has been diagnosed with COVID-19 and are interested in participating in a treatment trial where compensation will be available, call Arizona Clinical Trials at 520-445-4000 or visit azclinicaltrials.com/COVID.